The following is a fictitious episode in the lives of two make-believe hobos. The characters and events you hear are not real. Don't freak out.
Hey!
Hey!
How about some water back here?
Or toilet paper?
We do have rights. I mean, we're just waiting on a bond hearing. This is ridiculous.
Can I get my arms back, please?
Yeah, that's unfair.
That's unfair, man.
Look at the way his shirt's falling. That's
Dude,
not
this
flattering.
sucks. My sleeves, like, I don't like being limbless again.
I know. Well, I've
got my right nub.
I know, but what are you going to do with that? You can't even, like, balance against it.
No, like, I can like, poke you.
Oh, yeah. My ribs. Hey, this is harassment in here. Can we get some water, please? Oh, they're not listening to us. Hey,
don't spill the water on us, you dick. This is against human rights.
watch the equipment. God,
damn.
Hey.
At least they were kind enough to keep the machines in here.
Yeah, and I did get some water that's dripping down the face. That does help.
I'm just sipping it off the side of my lip.
Dehydrated. Yeah, hi there.
Hi, everybody. It's Don and Greg.
What's happening?
In jail.
Yeah, we're behind bars this week, guys. We did go to Peoria, and they kept us here. So
I will say that this is 100% Don's fault.
I don't think it's 100%, but I did carry...
I would say it's 100% because...
Look.
I just wanted a free thing, and you jinxed us. The minute that you kept screaming that they're going to arrest us, that jinxed it.
Well,
if you didn't have that mentality, we could have just gone in, gotten whatever was through that will and testament, and bam,
I told you
back on the road.
I told you the whole time this was a trap. And I was right. It's not my fault that we willingly came to a court of law and
I think that's debatable.
Confessed who we are. There, yes, neither of us have any identification, no photo ID, which is nice, and this is one of those times that it's saving us. But
yep,
here we are. We're still behind bars because we don't. They can hold us for a certain amount of time until they charge us with something, which they have not yet done. I think they're waiting on someone. But Greg and I last week we read a message from an old friend of ours, a recently deceased detective, based on the message, and
turns out he's not dead.
Yeah, he named us both in his will, and Greg and myself, I'll take responsibility. We both fell for the bit, and now here we are, trapped in a little cell. Looks like about 9 by 11. It's not that bad.
It's not very big. It's kind of snug.
It could be worse though. There's a couple of guys down the way that are there's like 3 piled up in like a 4 by 5. I mean that's that's no way to live.
I'm glad that they just decided to keep us in the same cell.
I think our hygiene actually is working in our favor. I think somebody mentioned that we couldn't be kept with Gen Pop based on our appearances. So
that's true.
This is helpful because Greg and I, as you may or may not know, Greg and I are homeless. We normally hang around Chicago, but this week, we're sort of in a little suburb of that in another part of Illinois. But we figure just because we're trapped here, Greg always has the equipment on him because he's my guy, carries that burden.
I'd give you finger guns, but...
I know. You could do it with the one nub, flipper gun. You can give me a flipper gun there. That's nice. Yeah, that's cool.
How?
That works. It's kind of animated. But yeah, so we figured since we're here, we're going to be here for a bit, we might as well set it up and talk to each other and to you about the content that we've absorbed. And I figure, why not, right?
Yeah, why not? We might as well mull over because we don't know when the court date is going to be.
No.
We don't really know what we're charged with, but they are definitely keeping us in here.
We don't have lawyers either. You might have guessed, Greg nor I have.
Well, I was going to be our lawyer.
I still think we made the right call on not going that route. I don't think you've ever read a law book.
It doesn't matter about me reading a law book. What matters is, as soon as I put on a pair of glasses, boom.
You screamed at the judge.
Did I?
Yeah. And you screamed dishonor instead of your honor. And I think that immediately that was just not a good start.
I just did that to be punny. I wanted to, break the ice.
I don't think it worked that way. And here we are.
Oh, no shit.
Here we are.
We're in jail.
So it was not the right call.
I thought we were going to get a car. It would have been tight.
It would have been. That would have been nice. But I said, not a good idea. And look, once again, you didn't listen to me, and now here we are. It's my own fault because I came along for the ride.
Yeah, it is your fault.
But I still. Oh, that's just. You still would have been. You would be alone if I didn't come with you. So you should just be glad that
I would have never been caught.
Oh, come on. That's not. You would have been. You wouldn't have even made it into the courtroom. You wouldn't have even made it in front of the judge. You would have been arrested forthwith.
Nah. I would have just
cuffed and right into this.
No.
Next door.
Like I got my free thing. I got a ticket to like whatever policeman's ball thing. Probably schmoozing it up with the commissioner.
Schmoozing it up in the same attire that got us our own cell because of lack of hygiene. That's not ball attire. You're gonna get a tux.
It works at the hobo balls.
Of course it does. But these are normies. These are real peeps.
Yeah, that's why what I'm looking to do is to bring our culture to them. What they're showing is how insensitive they are to our fashion and our culture.
They're not anthropologists, man. They don't care about our culture. They're just trying to live their day to day. And so are we, which is why we should get some freaking water in glasses and food. But
hell, I'll let you squeeze it in my mouth, man. It's the only way I can really do it.
Just
give me a straw.
That sponge you're using right now. Just squeeze it through the bars. No, it's soapy. Never mind. Don't do that. I can't.
I don't like the way that he looks at me.
No, go away, man.
The guards here are a little shady.
Yeah, one of them's got the wonk eyes. They're prey eyes.
Yeah, they got the screen
outward.
eye from looking at computers for too long, so they have that twitch.
Mm-hmm. And they're both the irises are both pointing outward, both of them, like they're on the lookout.
Yeah,
for
all
predators.
four of their irises, both of them, each eyeball.
It's a weird.
It's
place.
like a chameleon, but with double irises.
Peoria is a strange place, people. Just to keep that in mind.
This is like I feel like I'm at like Professor X's school, but it's a jail.
Right, and the gifteds are it's debatable. They're the chameleon eyes.
If this was a comic book world, what they have is a gift, but in real life it's like
curse. That is a curse.
Yikes.
No question. But I'll tell you what else was strange was the film that I focused my peepers on last week.
No, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't talk about it before we met last time, but I figured this would be a fine time. I was a little bit sick recently, and I ended up sort of losing consciousness in the middle of a street, and I woke up and I was again in the sewer. I had been...
Of course you were.
I was taken care of by my buddy Grotto. I mentioned him last week, and Grotto just kind of cared for me for a bit. Made some soup, not sewer soup either. He actually got some Campbell's, which was nice. I thought went up to the top side and actually bought some. But anyway, in the midst of that like fever haze of those couple of days, I did get to watch a movie. He put it on. It was called The Favorite. Yes. Oh, that's soapy water. Oh, god damn it.
Maybe you shouldn't have asked for soap squeezes.
Yeah, I do regret it now. But
hey, man, how about I don't know, like a Gatorade? What's in the soda machines? You got something?
We saw the vending machines over there, man.
No, not pop. Soda.
Give us the soda, and don't say that. We know what it's called. But anyway, so the Favorite it's kind of a period piece. It's about an English court. Set in the 18th century, early, and it's basically Queen Anne. She's got the throne, and she's sort of losing her mind. The Queen is her mental state's very frail, and that they get into why exactly, like as the movie goes on. But the stars of the movie are Emma Stone. She plays the lead. Rachel Weisz is the support. Nicholas Hoult is in there as a side character, and Olivia Colman plays Queen Anne. Olivia Colman. All three of those leading women, Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz, and Olivia Colman, they're the main focus of the movie. They're who you see the most, and they all crush it. They do. I mean, it's a wonderful job. I believe they're all nominated. I think Olivia Colman won the equivalent of Best Actress in the UK. She won that for her portrayal of Queen Anne in this movie. Their performances are engaging at the very least, but it is a period piece. It's English court, so all the action is in dialogue. It's drama.
So everyone speaks in ye old English?
Yes, they do.
"'Tis a snow, mine silken brassiere.
Oh, remove thine hand from beneath my frock.
Remove thine hand from thine croissant."
There's a little bit of that in there. There's a little croissant in there.
Oh, they have some French people
They
there
do.
too?
Yeah, they do
They
some
call
diplomacy.
them cowards? Like
At some
every other
point.
British thing ever?
At some point, I'm sure somebody did.
Like, oh, you cleaned my le tub all wrong, you fucking coward.
I can tell.
Chicken shit.
I can tell by the way you clean, you would have run from battle, you coward. Yeah.
You run away from soap scum like it was an evil Dutchman.
You're terrified of your enemy. Your belly is yellow. But yeah, so what happens is Emma Stone enters into the picture. She is kind of you see her at the beginning of the movie in this carriage, and she seems to be a nobody. She's a young girl crammed into this carriage with like 4 other people traveling across a great distance. Rachel Weisz, as you meet her, is already installed as like the Queen's favorite handmaiden. She is her number 1.
So she's the favorite.
She's the favorite. Then Emma Stone comes into the picture. She speaks to Rachel Weisz and pleads with her because apparently they're distant cousins. Basically, they have like a family relation. Emma Stone was married off into another family. That family like dissipated with disease or some shit. Like I don't even know. She winds
Just like
up,
every other typical English thing. Man, fucking English. Just like think of
Filthy.
every horrible disease possible.
Yep.
There it was.
smallpox, just filth.
Bubonic plague. Just syphilis.
Things that kill people in mass. Measles.
Cross eyes.
All of that. But so something like that happened. So Emma Stone's begging for, a place in the court. Rachel Weisz gives her like the lowest place on the totem pole. She's like scrubbing dishes and getting like fapped at by servant boys. Like she's just not in a good place. But it becomes clear pretty quickly that Emma Stone is very smart as well. She's cunning, she's clever, and she sort of takes opportunities to advance her station in this little hierarchy of the Queen's court until eventually she's vying for favor with the Queen, competing with Rachel Weisz.
Ooh,
and so
it's like a sports movie.
yeah, the two of them are basically, and they each sort of keep one-upping each other in terms of trying to sabotage the other one. And the Queen is, she, as I said, she's kind of confused, she's mentally frail, and she's just...
So they're basically taking, they're pointing blame whenever they fuck up. Oh no! I spilled this hot candle wax all over my queen! I mean, she did
that. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Or they'll do things directly to sabotage and blame it on the other person. And it's sort of, the scales continue upping themselves until, as I said, as dramatic as one of these period pieces can be in the 18th century, that's about how high the stakes get to. Right. So, I mean, temper your if I say it gets a little bit, heated, it's not crazy, they're not leading war against each other with guns and going nuts.
Oh, that'd be fucking tight.
It would be tight, but...
Dost thou have any last words? Hold on a second.
Right. Reloading! No, not again! Oh, I should have moved.
All right, I'm reloading again.
I'm out of gunpowder.
Oh no, mine doth gun stick doth falleth on the floor.
Henry, more bullets, please. Round boy. Yeah, so it's
Go to the blacksmith and create more bullets. I need them post haste.
Please, I'll wait. Bring me a sherry while you're at it.
He runs to the fucking blacksmith, takes
dodging bullets while he's doing it.
But then everyone's like, shit, we're out of bullets. What do we do? I don't know. Role play?
Let's all have some sherry. Toast each other.
They're just making gun noises now.
Right.
While the blacksmith is like, how many bullets do you need me to make?
When he comes back, you're dead. I killed you just now with my finger gun. You obey by the rules.
No, I doth shielded myself.
No, you know the rules. Next week, you can start early.
13 hours pass by. All right, now I shot you here and here, and no, that's unfair.
I don't want to play anymore.
No, you shot me in the back. No, I definitely shot you in the nipple.
Right in the front. Yeah, so that's kind of what the movie is. So
I nicked your knickers.
Take off your pants. Just finish the job, please. It's a little bit like that. So if it's not your thing, I mean, it's kind of a movie for, as I said, if you loved Downton Abbey, if you like British period pieces, this is definitely right up your alley. And as I said, Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz, Olivia Colman, like they all knock it out of the park. Nicholas Hoult does a good job too. He's kind of like a shithead that is just like this spoiled, lord who's always trying to get his way, but he controls a faction of like the court that makes him powerful, so they kind of have to deal with him. But
you say it like it's framed to be a period piece. Does it have kind of like I don't want to say pretentiousness, because I think pretentious is a pretentious word.
It is.
Do you think that they go really, really hard into the period piece, or do you think there's legitimately like good writing and good humor to kind of like modernize it, or are they going full blown like period piece?
It's pretty full blown, because a lot of the things that happen.
Emma Stone isn't going to look to the camera and go like, right.
Right, no, it's not that moderate or progressive, right?
It's not that self-aware.
Yeah, no,
they're not going to break up a conversation to look in the camera like, that's what doth she said, isn't it?
Good thing we broke away from this country, eh? But yeah, but no.
Good thing we seceded from this continent, I do say, oh cheerio.
I think we made the right call on this one. But yeah, it's not. It is pretty full blown period piece. The writing, though, I mean, it is good. The dialogue, as I said, like you kind of have to get used to it, just like any other language of any story that's like unique like that. We've talked about Spartacus. We talked about Star Trek. Anything where they use like kind of a specific language to communicate, you kind of have to get used to that and get into the rhythm. Once you get into that rhythm of the language, the writing is pretty good. I like some of the dialogue. Emma Stone has some decent comebacks. A little bit of there are some sharp barbs exchanged. One of the things that Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz do together a lot is they shoot the clay pigeons. They kind of like go out in the yard, and that's where a lot
they
of
find a clay pigeon and they beat it with their gun sticks.
So they just shoot it while it's dead on the ground already. That's while they are doing that activity, that's when they sort of like exchange their barbs at each other. And those, as I look back on the movie, those were some enjoyable moments of it. Like when they're in scenes together, and especially with the Queen and everything, it's some pretty good, compelling acting. But as I said, like it's certainly not a superhero movie. It's not action-y. It's a drama, and all of the action has to do with like the language and the dialogue, and that's where the plot goes.
Have you seen The Witch or The Vavitch?
I don't believe so.
It's a movie came out like I want to say 2-3 years ago. It was a horror movie, quote unquote. It was more atmospheric horror than like blood and gore. Sure. I just think about like period pieces like that where they use the old language to its detriment.
Oh, I see.
Because like the Witch is a fantastically shot movie. It's very well paced and it nails the atmosphere. But the ye old English accent, well, like it takes place in the Americas, but like the Americas of like before the Revolution.
Okay.
So long time ago.
Right.
I can't understand anything they say. Even with subtitles on, I'm like, what the fuck?
I see.
There's a point of being period piece, but also you have to remember, like, I don't think anyone but historians know how to speak like that.
Right. You never want to like cut out a section of the audience based, because your language is going that route. And I mean that. But
would you say that The Favorite does that at all, or do you think it's all pretty clear cut?
To me it was pretty clear cut. It's not. I mean, we were joking before about Shakespearean. It's not Shakespearean in its winding nature and using words that we don't actually use to mean concepts that we do use. But
you mean consonants, right?
I meant condoms.
Oh, you shouldn't be eating those.
I'm hungry.
You know what they do? What they do to your digestive system.
There's not a lot of choice on the floor of this cell, though.
I wouldn't have been eating those. Those probably have that's like a smorgasbord of STDs.
It was unrolled, but it wasn't used. I could just tell. Anyway, though,
you say that.
Yeah, I know. I hope it. I'm like I said. At least there's something in my stomach, though. Sorry, but
gross.
Anyway, so I will say that it didn't lose me with its language. It is something you kind of have to get in the rhythm of the language of, and again, if you're not into period pieces, if you don't like the old English style, I mean, this is it's just not going to be for you anyway. It'll lose you. But if that's your thing, The Favorite is worth a watch. As I said, the acting in it is kind of the top. You know, Greg just broke down some other areas of movies that can be really good if it's well shot, if the lighting's good, if the sound is good. That being said, the movie is pretty well shot. They use a lot of fisheye lenses in a couple of scenes where they introduce you, and it's like very wide because of it. The perspective is kind of unique. So they did that a couple of times, which I thought was interesting. The movie is well shot, and it's in the English countryside, so it's in a different place than, you know, we are if you live in a city and stuff. So that kind of stuff is nice.
It's about what you would expect. It's probably in a castle for most of the time.
It is, yes, exactly. And they do go, there's some horseback riding. They go explore some other areas of like England and whatnot.
Mom transforms into a bear
and kills the dad.
No, that didn't happen in Brave.
No, it happened in The Three Bears.
Oh, Goldilocks did fucking murder those bears.
Yeah, and that's how she found the bed that she wanted.
Wow.
Don't tell the kids that. But yeah, The Favorite. Check that out if you're so inclined. That's kind of that's how I took it.
Neat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I was doing before, you know, John got us into prison was
own up to it, man.
No,
it's on you. This is on you.
I would have gotten out of this.
It's your idea.
Scott Clear.
I told you it was bad from the start.
I would have talked to Scott Clear and he would have gotten us out.
he comes through only half the time.
There's still a 50-50 chance he would have shown up.
All right.
Any case.
What did you watch?
So I got my hands, if you didn't listen last week, my friend the Rave Man paid me for some practical jokings. Right. So he put a ton of brand new games on my Switch. And one of the games I was looking at was Octopath Traveler.
Ooh.
Yes. So Octopath Traveler is the spiritual sequel to the Bravely Default series. It's the same team and all them. I love Bravely Default. They're two very solid JRPGs that went in the route of Final Fantasy. It was basically redoing what made Final Fantasy great.
Okay.
It had a meta narrative, so it was like, it's really fully aware of what kind of JRPG it is.
Turn-based combat?
Turn-based combat, 4 characters, a job system. So Octopath, the whole point of Octopath is the game just lets you go. At the start of the game, you are given a choice of one of 8 main characters to pick from. And from that point forward, you go on either getting all the other party members, maybe even some of them, and completing the story associated with each of the characters. So, for example, I started with the merchant Tressa, and her story is like, I'm going to become a world-famous merchant. So I'm going to help the problem in my town, and then I'm going to move on with an epic grand adventure.
Right. Pick up some wares and sell them in other places.
Pretty much. Yeah. And from that point forward, I just went around getting characters and going to new locales.
Traveling the Octopath.
Yes, traveling with 8 friends that never interact with each other.
Oh, I see.
So, like I said, because there's 8 characters and they're all in different parts of the world, their stories are completely separate from each other. You get characters to join your party. When you get the 8 characters, they have their introduction chapter. Let me make this sound better. All 8 main characters have 4 chapters of story.
Okay.
So there's 4 story events that happen in different locations around the world, and there are different level caps. So what you want to do is go through the character story parts, become stronger, do the typical JRPG stuff. But I think that's a fault of the game, because since each character has their own story, it's 8 stories that never merge.
Okay, yeah, that seems kind of... Just when you mentioned that they never interact, like... that's just not what I expected. When you say Octopath and you say that it's 8 different characters, I expected like that they would cross over and eventually team up.
They kind of cross over with their story stuff. Like there's parts in everyone's story that interact to form the bigger picture, because you can't go after the final boss until you've beaten all 8 characters' story paths.
Oh.
But in between that, it's so awkward because, like I said, when I started the game and I had Tressa, I went to the next town over and picked up the mage character Cyrus. And when you introduce yourself to him, his entire chapter prologue starts, giving the setup before you go into the first dungeon as him. And then after that, it's like, okay, we're in a party together now. And now every cutscene, you will not be in it.
Oh.
So cutscenes happen without any of the other characters involved in it.
Oh, because I'm guessing, like, do you...
Because
the game is recycled? Like...
No, the cutscenes aren't recycled. Like, it's new cutscenes every single time.
Okay.
It's fully voiced. It's got full orchestration. It's got all that junk. So nothing will repeat, but you can definitely tell because it's 4 chapters for each character. You know beat for beat what's going to happen. It's
Gotcha.
like first chapter is set up to the character, understanding what the character's motives are, and understanding their special, unique abilities compared to the rest of the party. You go fight a boss that is troubling you, that's in your way of whatever your story path is. You beat that boss, that's the end of chapter 1, and then you do chapter 2, it's continuation of character, you have a little bit of doubt of what you're doing. Chapter 3 is the character growth moment, where, you know, the doubt is now like, oh no, I'm going to do this now.
Yeah, right, overcoming the doubt.
Yeah, and then chapter 4 is the climax.
Right.
Like the big story climax of the entire, like, chapter.
So you get all these 8, and then you face the final boss. Then you can.
You can fight the final boss, but you have to beat every single chapter. I haven't done that. I focused on 4 main characters for a while. Something I really don't like is... So the game really wants you to play around with your party members because everyone has their own job. So Tressa is the merchant. Haunett is the hunter. Cyrus is the scholar. They all have their own special job that is always linked to them. But as you go throughout the game, you find these little shrines, and you can get all the other party members' jobs as secondary jobs. So you add that to your characters so that they become like cool double class character.
Right.
They're not going to be as amazing as the main character for that job.
Yeah.
Like Tressa is the best merchant, but other characters can be merchants as well.
Right. They're just not going to be as...
They're not going to be as
powerful,
good as her. Yes.
Yeah, in that regard.
There's cool job combinations you can do, but because of that, I felt like there was no need to level up party members or constantly switch party members in and out. Because you have to be at a certain level in order to actually complete the dungeons associated with the chapters.
Yeah.
Like, chapter 1 for everybody, you could beat it by, like, level 5, and you're fine. But when you get to, like, the chapter 2s, it's like, oh, you have to be at level 20.
I see.
At chapter 3, you have to be, like, 40.
Scales
45.
like that.
Yeah. And it takes a decent chunk of time to level up in this game. But also, like, once you find your 4 party members, I felt no need to switch in the others because I was like, I just made these 4 characters. Their subclasses are the other jobs.
Right.
From the other 4 party members.
Interesting.
The other thing, too, is, like I said before, everyone has, like, a special ability that they can do on screen.
Yeah.
So...
limit break.
Not a limit break. It's like a town ability, what you're able to do in town.
Okay.
There are 4 different ways of interacting with people, but there's the good version and the bad version.
Oh.
So the good version is you get there are 4. It's with the merchant, you buy things from people, you talk and converse with people, you guide people so they become like a 5th party member that helps out with battle for a few turns.
Okay.
Or you challenge people in a one-on-one duel, but like a friendly one-on-one duel. And then the other 4 are steal, scrutinize, so there's a chance of you trying to get information out of people, being a dick.
Right.
You can allure people. So you use your sexy wilds to make people follow you to do the same thing as guide, or you challenge them or provoke them, where you fight people with monsters that you capture. So if you fail a one-on-one fight, your reputation in town goes down.
I see.
You have 5 chances to mess up a reputation by using the bad choices, like the evil versions. But like the main difference is with the like the town that's kind of bad versions of shit.
Yeah.
The frowned upon stuff. You have 5 chances to mess up. If you do, you have to pay off like a barkeep, so your reputation is A-okay in battle.
Sure. Yeah.
There are some that are way better than others. So, say for example, between buying things and stealing them, stealing is way better because you're not gonna.
It doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I don't want to spend $30,000 to get a bow when all I have to do is just go to a save icon, which there's one on every single map in every area.
Nice.
Every dungeon, every town. Whenever you're in a new screen, a save point will be somewhere.
It's convenient.
Sometimes 2 or 3.
Okay.
Depending on the length of the area. So you just save scum. Just keep reloading it so you can steal more shit.
Right. And then if they don't catch you stealing, there's no
repercussion.
That's great.
You have the thing.
Yeah. And it costs you nothing.
It cost me nothing.
Right. And all you're doing, as you said, when you steal something or you attempt to, you risk getting caught. But if you save beforehand and then
because
you
it's
keep
so
trying,
easy to save. It auto-saves whenever you walk into a new room, too.
Oh, my gosh.
So, just in case if you forgot to save,
whoop, wow.
Oh, I'm back.
That's great. They almost encourage that with how often it saves.
Now, I've talked about all that garbage, but when it comes to, like, the presentation and the actual, like, battles, oh, my God, this game is beautiful.
Nice.
It looks like, it's like a JRPG storybook. The way that the layouts are and the way that character sprites are made. It's so well executed. The presentation is phenomenal. It gives a very much like... It reminds me of playing old school JRPGs like SNES days, like Final Fantasy VI and like Grandia, stuff like that. Everything pops out. It's just these big... you have these 3D landscapes, but these 2D pixel art characters running around. And then when you get into battles... The detail on the enemy sprites are amazing. There's so much detail in these sprites. It's probably the best looking sprites in any RPG I've ever seen.
Wow, really?
They look phenomenal.
That is, it's kind of a subtle thing to notice, but at the same time, that really affects how satisfying gameplay is. I think the better the enemies look, like that's a sweet thing. And it is really subtle, but man, when they suck. It's like less satisfying in some way.
And the gameplay too. This was taken from the Bravely Default series. You have Brave points. So what this does is gives you extra attacks or powers up your super attacks.
Ooh.
So at the end of every turn, a character will recover 1 battle point. You always start the battle with 1. When you reach 5, at that point, what you can do is hitting the right button on the Switch. This is a Switch exclusive, by the way. So
okay,
it's the only system you can get it on. You max out your BP ability. If you're using a normal attack, you'll do 4 attacks. If you're using a skill, that amplifies its attack power.
Oh.
So what you want to do is kind of hoard BP, hit enemies with their weaknesses, and then after you break them, quote-unquote break, it does way more damage. So breaking, every enemy has a weakness, has a very set skill of weaknesses between weapons and elements and all that shit. Every enemy also has like a little shield icon next to them. So what you really want to do, break the shields, because that causes enemies to lose turns.
Oh, nice.
You can lose up to 2 turns of abilities.
Nice.
And it's great on bosses, because there are some bosses who will hit you 3 times a turn.
Oof.
So break them, and they won't hit you at all. And when you break something, everything does double damage.
Oh, beautiful.
So you really, really want to aim for the breaks. And it seems like it would be a little, like, unfair because enemies can't break you.
Yeah.
So to supplement that, enemies are really, really, really fucking tough.
Gotcha.
They are really strong.
Yeah, not even just in terms of how many times they're hitting you per attack. Each attack does like a lot of good amount of damage.
Their stats and their abilities make up for the fact that you can be broken.
Right.
So they have like super powerful debuffs that affect whole party members when no party member actually has like a group ability until way late into the game.
Yeah.
After you level up all your jobs.
So here's a question. So you mentioned like there's 8 different characters, and there's 4 party members in the battle, and the 8 characters never interact.
The characters will interact with each other sometimes in chapters,
but not in battle.
No.
So who are the other 3 party members? Does each character
just
have 3 random party members?
It's one of the party members from the other stories.
I see.
So
do you start with them in the first chapter, or do you kind of get them as you go along?
You get them and have them join your party. So at the start of the game, I like I said, I picked Tressa. You can't change Tressa out. You can't change whoever you picked as your first character until you finish their story. Because they are seen as your quote-unquote protagonist.
I see.
You can't get rid of them. Which was fine, because I ended up picking a very, very good character.
Yeah.
If I ended up starting with like Ophelia, I would have been like, fuck, this sucks. Starting with the healer.
Oh, I see.
And having no way to make her a better party member until much later into my game.
Yeah.
That's stinky.
Yeah.
But instead starting with a character who has great stats all around and abilities that are super dope early game. So like she has an ability where she called Hired Help. You use your own money and you pay for soldiers to attack things.
Mercenaries.
And they all have different abilities. Like the level 1 ability, it only costs 150 gold. And a mercenary jumps out and gives the full party a defensive boost.
Beautiful.
I'm like, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's so good early game.
And 150 gold, like even early game, like it's not a
if you have Tressa, one of her unique abilities is that as soon as you enter a new screen, she finds money.
Oh, that's nice.
And in battle, she has her version of steal, which is called collect. So instead of stealing an item, like the character Therion would do, she steals gold. And you can
straight up money, yeah.
Yeah, so getting money is not hard in this game.
Okay.
Which was really... So it kind of counterbalances, like, do you want to steal things or do you want to buy them? Because you can do either.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do either, but if you find one to be easier, it's better.
It sounds like the merchant is a great character to start with.
I think she's a great character to start with, or one of the beefy attack members.
Sure.
Like Alphen. Alphen is really fucking good to start with. He's really beefy. He's got huge HP pool, but he's also got like solid magic. He comes with 1 ice spell, so he can balance himself.
Yeah.
He's also the best healer of the entire cast, because he has an ability where he mixes and matches items. He's the only one that can do it, and it acts as full party heals.
Oh man, well, it's strange to me that it's like he's the best healer, but there is a healer of the 8.
There is another healer. She has better defensive options. He has better, like, okay, I have items that can do things, but you have to use items. So once you run out of items, you're fucked.
Right.
Whereas her healing abilities will not be as strong. All of her abilities are party-wide. So she has a revive skill where it can revive all party members.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's huge.
There's a lot of balancing between all the characters.
Okay, that sounds fun. So that healer you mentioned, not great early game, but later on.
Later on, she gets great. When you mix and match her jobs with the secondary jobs, that's when things start getting really interesting.
Cool.
So I think this game is a good precursor to what they're making now, because I know that the creators went on Twitter to be like, hey, we're making something new now because Octopath did really fucking well.
Nice.
Like, I think Octopath sold 1 million units within like its first month.
Wow, just on the Switch too.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
crazy.
like, for a Switch-only JRPG, a turn-based RPG.
Pretty damn good.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So what are they making now?
Don't know yet, but it seems like it's going to be maybe another chapter in the Bravely series. I really like the Bravely games. Honestly, if I had a choice between playing Bravely Default or Bravely Second or Octopath, I'd take the Bravely games.
Oh, okay.
Because they have better stories and their characters actually interact.
You
only have 4 characters in the Bravely games, but there's way more customization. It feels better to mix and match jobs.
Yeah.
Octopath, certain characters do way better with certain secondary jobs. Like, you make the hunter Honnett. You turn her into part warrior. I have no need for a warrior.
Yeah,
and
right.
I have no need to make her any other job. Because the warrior gives her a huge defensive and attack boost. She learns a shit ton of spear and sword abilities with her already axe and arrow skills. So she has 4 weapons she can use at once. It's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. It's more of a JRPG if you care more about gameplay than story. Because it's got style. It doesn't really have substance with its story.
I see.
But in terms of fun gameplay and really good looking like screens and battles and music, fuck man, the music is amazing.
Okay.
I enjoy it. Yeah. So Octopath. I think it's a solid game, but I know that there are tweaks here and there that can help this company make a better game for their next sequel.
Gotcha. Okay, Octopath on the Switch. So yeah, it sounds like a fun game if you like to. If Bravely series, are they just on the Switch too?
No, they're 3DS only games.
Oh, okay.
Bravely Default 1, I know there's this huge stigma with that game because you have to repeat it 4 times.
Oh.
You have to repeat the 4 big main bosses 4 times. There's story reason to it. It still sucks.
Yeah.
I couldn't finish that one. Bravely Second is much lighter in tone, but it doesn't do anything like that, and that's why I prefer Second more.
As a gamer, fighting the same boss
It sucks.
4 times, it's like, that's brutal.
That's what my problem with Dragon Quest was. The latest Dragon Quest. It makes you repeat so much of that fucking game.
It's just...
You gotta do so many dungeons over and over again.
No, man, like that repetition like that, like that's why...
Recycle content, no good.
No, and that's why people, even like the games earlier where like, you mentioned Final Fantasy and stuff, like when you have to grind, and the grinding is monotonous. I feel like that's why you don't, I mean, some games still have it, but I think that style kind of went away a bit because everyone knows like it's like work. It's brutal to slog through.
I mean, that's why with the Bravely series, they did something smart I wish that Octopath kept. You can turn random encounters off.
Oh, that is nice.
And you can also speed up battle. You can make it like 4 times faster.
That's huge.
That's a huge fucking deal.
For turn-based stuff, man, that is excellent. You're shaving off a lot of time.
I think the only modern day JRPG that has the perfect speed to it is Persona 5. That game is quick.
Nice.
Battles go by real fast.
That is
great. If you decide to put it in auto mode, it's like lightning quick. Just
right, like a sports game being simulated. Like it just
the whole screen turns into a fast forward screen.
Oh, nice!
When you do that shit. So
cool. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So Octopath and The Favorite.
The Favorite. Yeah. Definitely check that one out too if you like, as I said, British period pieces like that.
Well, I think it's our favorite time of the show where we tell you about the Greg's List.
Yeah, we like to hear from you. You can send us...
All right, this sucks. I gotta open this computer with my foot.
All right, you got it, bud. I'm just glad they allowed us to keep that in here, too. I was going to say I had it written on a piece of paper just in case, but you got that laptop there.
Yeah.
Can you log in with the foot? Do you need me to type that?
Hold on. Ah, shit.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think you may have to pull the paper
Here
out.
we go. Yeah, I got it written right here. And uncrumple that. That's nice. Okay. All right. Here we go. We have another. It is from Billy Bobcat of Morton Grove. Billy Bobcat, our biggest fan. You rule, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Appreciate it. He says, "Oi, dudes." A lot of O's.
Dudes.
D7 or 8 O's and then DS.
So it's dudes.
Dudes. Comma. What was your most embarrassing real-life or video game moment ever? Question mark. And ever is in all caps.
Ever?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Best hombre Billy Bobcat. Thank you, Billy. We always love hearing from you, man.
Most embarrassing real life. I think.
Listen, standards, Billy. You got to know, man. Our standards for embarrassment have gone way, way down, buddy. I mean, I got to tell you, I walked around with a gigantic shit stain on the back of my jeans for about a month and a half.
Though I will say, like, when I was a teenager, those kind of embarrassing moments, I was like, ugh!
They still stick with me. Yeah, you're right.
I think the one that I remember the most was me and my dad. We were driving around. We stopped by a diner. The two of us are sitting at a table, and there's like a couple teens just like sitting at the table next to us, having a conversation about as loud as we do. Mm-hmm. But my dad's a dickhead, so he was like, "Shut the fuck up!"
To teenagers?
And he pounded on their table. He pounded his hand on their table and went, "People are trying to eat."
Oh my God.
And I just sat there going like, oh no.
Oh no. How old were you at this time?
I was like 13, 14.
Wow.
And I'm like, red in the face.
Yikes.
And I'm like, I'm probably going to see these guys at school.
That's why you always freeze up when anybody's yelling while we're trying to eat. Oh my gosh, I put it together.
Oh no.
This is crazy. Sorry, bud.
I didn't
know about that.
It was a traumatic experience, man. The
Yeah.
most traumatically embarrassing moment.
Yeah, the embarrassment's crippling. Okay, I've
Or actually, you know what? I got a video game one too.
Okay, I got a real life one, and then we'll jump to
Tell
video
me.
game. Real life, 8th grade. There was a school. It wasn't a talent show. It was some kind of presentation. But in between the info, they had people doing acts. And so people did do talent stuff. I was going to do live karaoke to James Brown, I Feel Good. And I had that like all ready to go, like all I had it memorized, I had moves going. I had actually like prepared for it. And my time comes, lady reads what she had to read. I go on stage, someone gets on the loudspeaker and says, "All right, and now it's Don Kleppen like performing like I Feel Good." And the song that came on was the wrong track. It was not "I Feel Good." It was "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5.
Oh no.
To this day, and I didn't know that song at all. To this day, whenever I hear that song, "I Want You Back," it resurfaces this cringy feeling because I still was on stage.
Your head is sinking into your shoulders.
I was still on stage with the microphone, and I still had nobody changed the song or anything. So I'm in front of my classmates. This is when I was like 12, and I'm like supposed to perform a song that I don't have any dance moves to and I don't know the lyrics. So very quickly I'm like turning around, like looking at anyone like, "Yo, please help me, get me out of here." But I still lasted for a while, and to this day when I hear the song "I Want You Back," I still feel like embarrassed and I need to go run for a dark corner.
Dang.
Yeah.
I got a video game one.
What do you got?
So I was probably 10 or 11. It was when the GameCube came out. Mm-hmm. We went to my friend's birthday party because he had just gotten a GameCube.
Nice.
And he got smashed.
Yes.
But we decided to do a tiers list of people who have played the game before and who didn't. I pretended that I did. Because I tried to play, I was hot shit.
Oh no.
So I went up with my friend and he just destroyed me. Oh. Like we did 3 stock, he didn't die once. I think I barely hit him. And and then after the fight, I was just like,
I don't want to play.
Fucking sucks.
I don't want to play this anymore.
Man, your controller's busted, man. Yes. You should return that to the store.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
For like a good 2 weeks, my friends were just like, "Oh man, yeah, we're the greatest Smash players in the world." Right, Greg?
Yeah. There was a similar time when I used to play Halo with my friends on the original Xbox. And I didn't have one, but I had friends who did. And I would go to their place, and one of my friends was just so good at it. And so we would get, heated, and we'd compete with each other, and he would always kill me. And I got so upset that I would often, storm out of that house and I couldn't talk about it. And then we'd see each other a few days later, and it would be like, "Oh, okay, no, everything's cool." But
really, in the back of your mind is like, this son of a bitch.
I know,
and
every time Halo got fired up, that came into my head. I was like, "Ooh, this is my chance." And then I'll tell you what, though, I did redeem myself when the energy sword came out in Halo 2. When they released the energy sword, all of a sudden, I don't know if it's because of the melee thing or whatever, but my friends were really good with the snipers and the battle rifle and stuff. When the energy sword came out, all of a sudden I was on the tier because I had that timing down.
Nice.
So yeah, that was an embarrassing moment, but happy ending though.
Yeah, those are our embarrassing moments. Just letting it out there.
Yeah. So now you all know.
Oh,
thanks, Bob.
Hey, guy.
Hey, guys, it's time to see the judge. Put that stuff away, all right? You guys you're doing court.
But we're still doing a podcast thing here.
Hey, you got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes, so you guys are forfeiting. You're going to be here for another long time.
How about fuck you and I get 15?
Jesus, bro, come on. We didn't give a phone call or anything.
Ow, don't hit me with your ow!
All right, alrighty. We're coming. All right, thanks. See ya. You guys are great.
What you just heard was a fantasy, a fiction cooked up for your amusement and the catharsis of the hosts. Please, have mercy on them.